the global demand for the products that our farmers produce continues to grow. What should we be telling people? Because everybody is so interested in what's going on with exports of U.S. soy. And the headline we all hear is the problems with China, the lack of a trade deal with China. And that is certainly a problem because, China first started importing soy back in '95, and since that time has grown to become the biggest buyer in the world. And today they've got nothing on the books. So that's a problem. But what people don't necessarily hear very much is that our exports to all destinations aside from China, so U.S. exports that completed the end of August 31st, the end of the soybean year, and now we're in the last month of the soybean meal and oil year, we're at a record level. So we're shipping record amounts to non-China destinations, and I think that's really good news. The last time we had this kind of a situation with China, back in 1819, we didn't have near the volume we had going to today to these other rest of world destinations. So we've been focused on diversification, just like you hear China focusing on diversifying their suppliers. So while we need to get a deal with China put together, I think we're in good shape with buyers from other parts of the world, and we've really been focusing on differentiating U.S. soy and building a preference for U.S. soy. And thanks to the crop that farmers grow, we've been able to do that. As I can imagine, many farmers are just getting ready to harvest their soybean crops and their corn crops, and you might think to yourself, wow, I'm harvesting this big crop and there's no market for it. I think it's really important to just take a step back and realize that the global demand for the products that our farmers produce continues to grow. And we hear all this talk about trade dying or global trade going away. We don't see that at all. We've just been doing some survey work and we've been looking at a lot of data, and the numbers continue to increase. A larger percentage of the food people around the world consume has been traded once or twice from different countries before it's actually consumed. And I think that's good. That gives us choice. That gives people around the world choice. And it's certainly good for U.S. soy farmers because we export 55 to 60% of all the crop that we produce. What we need to make sure we're doing, and what our organization is trying to do on behalf of farmers, is make sure that we're differentiating U.S. soy, building a preference for it, making sure we have markets for it, we can attain market access so we can get it in without trade barriers, and that we're having a lot of markets. So we're not too dependent on any one country. We all know today we have this big dependency on China, we have the trade issue. We've got to get that worked through, just like we did the last time. I know it's painful, but we worked through it the last time. I believe we will again, but we've got a lot of other countries that want U.S. soy. So I just want to give a message to the farmers that are out there harvesting their great crop this year. People are going to want that crop. There's going to be demand for it. It may feel a little bit bad here, especially in the front end of the crop, but I believe there will be strong demand. We're seeing record consumption of soy in many countries, record utilization, and so keep the faith. Keep growing your crops. There are hungry people out there in the world that want it. There's people that aren't necessarily hungry that just prefer our crop because of all the good things about it. So keep growing the crop. We'll get the China situation figured out. And in the meantime, there's good demand from other people. Lastly, I'd just say, many of you are aware, there's this change in the US where we have more crush capacity. And that is also a great way for us to differentiate US soy, of course, with the meal, but also to diversify markets, because meal goes to different places than whole beans go. So while beans will still be the main export, soybean meal exports are growing. They're up about 10% this year. We think they'll keep growing about that much every year for the next few years. So soybean meal exports are something we're thinking about together with all the crushers in the US.